stuff. So I guess I could start at the bottom of the main card, which was a people's main event in my opinion. Tony Kelley, Adrian Yanez. My issue with Tony Kelley. Let me backtrack. Actually, let me catch you guys up. I'm sure some of you watching know the history of Adrian Yanez, Tony Kelley, what's been going on. But let me catch you guys up in case you're somebody who isn't so diehard about UFC. You might watch this because of NFL or NBA talks, or even if you are, someone that's a fan of MMA, you may be a pay-per-view only type of person. You might be that person that's like, when Conor and Izzy fight, I'll watch, but other than that, I don't really watch the free fight nights. I definitely don't watch anything besides the main event on the main card, and I get it. But if I can offer you some insight, if I can offer you some pure entertainment, let me get into the backstory of this fight and why there was so much bad blood in this fight. Tony Kelley is dating Andrea Lee. Now, Andrea Lee, I don't want to harp too much on. I guess a lot of people will say that she's guilty by association, which is it's a tough thing to be guilty by association. But backstory on Andrea Lee, I think, gives a little bit. It might tell the full story of Tony Kelley. So Andrea Lee, she kind of became MMA's UFC sweetheart because she was in a really tough relationship with somebody who was like a white supremacist, bad dude. Like, he beat her up. He was a bad guy in this long relationship with him. And then she got out. She ends up meeting Tony Kelley, love of her life, seems to be a good guy. It's like, oh, great. She got out of that terrible relationship. She's with somebody else and she's doing better. She's getting wins together. He's in her corner. He's training her. He's coaching her up. All that good stuff. Now, I say that to say what happens with Tony Kelley. So Andrea Lee is in a fight and she's fighting a female who happens to be Brazilian. Well, in the middle of the fight, the UFC usually mics up the coaches. Right, it has the cornermen with a microphone so you can hear the insight that they're giving them, which, again, not abnormal. Boxing does this everywhere. Any combat sports, you get some insight on the corner. Well, he goes on to say that she was cheating with an eye poke. The Brazilian girl, that she was cheating with an eye poke. We know what they do. We know how these dirty Brazilians are. They're going to try to cheat. Not great. Not great. Because of that, you can obviously imagine that there'd be some upset people, especially other fellow Brazilians on the roster were very upset with Tony Kelley, caught a lot of backlash. And here is where my issue stands with Tony Kelley. You messed up. You made a mistake. Do I know that Tony Kelley is racist or has some type of hatred towards Brazilians? No, I don't know. And nobody really does. But this is my issue with Tony Kelley. What I would do in that situation, and I'm not perfect, would come out and say, my bad. I made a mistake. That is not what I meant in any way. I apologize if I have offended people, and I want to apologize for that. I never meant to hurt anybody. I never meant to offend people. I do not feel that way about Brazil. I do not feel that way about Brazilians at all. That's my fault. I own up to it. I want to move past this. It sucks. I don't want people thinking that this is the type of person I am, because I'm not. Something around those lines. I just came up with that now. I'm sure he has a manager. I'm sure if he had his manager put something together for him, it would sound a lot better than I just sounded. That's not what Tony Kelley did. What Tony Kelley did was say, all this clickbait shit, all the stuff you guys try to push, all this racist bullshit is nonsense, blah, blah, blah. He went on the defense. You have to take accountability when you make a mistake, man. There's no way that you can listen back to that and not assume that people would feel some type of way about it. Of course they would. Now, if you didn't mean it, then just say that's not what I meant at all. But to just be defensive about it, go on the attack about it, what are you going to expect? How do you expect fans to not turn on you? How do you expect fans to now not root against you in this situation? They're going to root against you. They're going to, okay, this guy obviously is not apologetic about it. This guy obviously doesn't care. This guy's, to be that defensive about it so quickly instead of offering a sincere apology for it, I think that's what rubbed me the wrong way. And I think it's what rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Now, there's some people, of course, that are just like, he's a racist. He's just, some Nazi tape type of guy. And the reason I brought that up is because Andrea Lee is now this girl that's stuck in the middle of this. We don't know what Andrea Lee feels. We don't know what she thinks. But when you're guilty by association with a guy who you yourself admitted his alliance with, this horrible group and his crazy beliefs and his hatred. And now you're dating somebody who has this crazy thing that he said in your corner. It's like, maybe she's attracting guys that have a similar mindset to her. I don't know. I don't know her. I've never heard Andrea Lee say anything that comes off as racist or any type of bigotry from Andrea Lee. So it's not fair to say that. I'm just telling you the full story of Tony Kelley and Andrea Lee's relationship and how some people are feeling about that situation and why they're kind of jumping to conclusion about Tony Kelley and how he truly feels about certain people. Now, that leads to his opponent, Adrian Yanez. Obviously adds fuel to the fire. I don't blame Adrian Yanez at all. When you're about to fight somebody, any little thing that's going to help with motivation, you're always looking for extra motivation. This probably added that motivation that Adrian Yanez wanted. He starts kind of chirping on Twitter. Brazilians are all backing him. Gilbert Burns, the person, we know him. He was formerly ranked number 2 at the 170-pound division. He fought Hamza Chimaev. He's a beast. He offers to pay Adrian Yanez, hey, I got money for you if you knock this dude out. So it adds more fuel to the fire. Adrian Yanez starts chirping. Tony Kelley starts chirping. Now we got ourselves a little bit of a beef going into a fight that should have been very beefless, right? It should have been an impossible burger, if you will. There should not have been any beef in this fight, but because of that situation, now we got a lot of beef. Now we got a damn steakhouse of a match coming up with Tony Kelley and Adrian Yanez. Adrian Yanez is talking to top it off. The other reason, when you add why so many people, including myself, check my Twitter, I am clowning on Tony Kelley. I'm not holding back anything, and this is why. You go into the fight night. Okay, you're painted as the bad guy. You're going to take on the role of the bad guy. All right, cool. We've seen people do that in the past, and it's worked for people. Whatever. Colby Covington, one of them. Colby Covington, Tony Kelley, completely different people. Colby Covington talks a lot of stuff. He might go overboard. He might say some things that are crossing the line, but he does it to a specific person. He makes sure he doesn't cross the line of, well, I'm lying. Colby Covington did say similar things about Brazilians as well. But at least Colby Covington is professional in the octagon, and Colby has always been it's been well known that everything Colby does is an act. It's all a persona. It's all something that Colby Covington's just putting together, that he doesn't really feel the way he feels, and some of the angles he uses aren't true to his beliefs. He's just using them as angles. Does that make it better or worse? I don't know. The thing that rubs me the wrong way is now Tony Kelley goes in to weigh-ins and misses weight by a lot. I mean, he didn't miss weight at half a pound. You can come in, I believe they're at 135, so you can come in up to 136. Tony Kelley weighed in at like 137 and a half, somewhere around there. So he wasn't close to making weight. He misses weight, gives up a percentage, gives up 20% of his purse now to Adrian Yanez. So if he wins, Adrian even gets more money. If he loses, obviously Adrian Yanez gets his win bonus, but then a percentage of Tony Kelley's earnings as well. That's the punishment for missing weight. Now, with that being said, a lot of people, including myself, were really hoping Adrian Yanez got the job done, and boy, did he. I mean, Adrian Yanez, not to talk too much about Tony Kelley and all the negative things about Tony Kelley's behavior, but even going into the fight, Tony Kelley is flipping everybody off, flipping off the arena, flipping off all the fans. He was just talking to Adrian Yanez. Adrian Yanez said when the fight started that he was still talking to him. One thing I will give Tony Kelley some credit for, he called Adrian Yanez the Wish version of Jorge Masvidal. I don't know how I didn't see it before, but when I was just staring at Adrian Yanez, like when Adrian Yanez said that he called him that, and I was looking at him, I was like, oh shit, he does kind of look like the Wish version of Jorge Masvidal. Like, that actually is kind of true. So give him credit, that was actually kind of funny, but pissed Yanez off even more. And let's take a look at the fight itself here. 144 left in the first round. Already starting to rock him, puts the hands on him. He wobbled him a couple times before this, and then here Tony Kelley's already starting to get pieced up. You see the cut under his eye. Body shots from Adrian Yanez are always there, man. The way he works the body, it's beautiful. His boxing is crisp, it's clean, and every time Tony Kelley threw a leg kick, he paid for it. Here, boom, 3 shots, gets some wobble. Tony Kelley's trying to reach for anything, goes down. 3 more shots hit behind him, hit him on the side of the head, and then obviously the middle fingers up. As you can see, a lot of animosity from these two guys, even after the fact. Adrian Yanez is like, yeah, I don't like that guy. I just don't think he's a good guy. I don't like him. I didn't really care afterwards. He even said after the fight that Tony Kelley was trying to tell him, like, I was good. I came to fight. Like, I guess insinuating that it was an early stoppage, which you just saw nothing early about that stoppage. Like, boy got beat up. He got beat up from start to finish. Yanez did have a cut that came from a clash of heads as they entered. As they came into a clinch, they clashed heads a little bit. Yanez got a cut. But Yanez controlled that fight. Every time Tony Kelley would throw leg kicks, Yanez was countering beautifully on those. But yeah, so that, just another one of those fights that everybody was going. I mean, even the freaking crowd was in there. Like, as the fight was happening, at first it was like, let's go Yanez, let's go Yanez. You know what I mean? What you would expect. And then all of a sudden, as soon as Yanez started catching him a little bit, Tony Kelley started talking. You saw Tony Kelley doing some little hand motions. He started chirping at him a little bit. Crowd flips. Instead of let's go Yanez, crowd starts chanting, fuck you, Kelley, fuck you, Kelley. And I was like, oh my goodness gracious, this guy. So moving forward, even after the fight, he takes the Instagram, Tony Kelley takes the Instagram and is just like, it's still fuck you, it's still fuck everybody, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, I get, like, this is what I don't understand. You are, in a way, you are what you're perceived to be. I understand some people have the wrong perception, and sometimes you don't care to fix that perception. I get that. That's happened to me before. I'm sure that's happened to you before, where you've been in a situation where you're like, hey, everybody knows my character. Everybody knows who I am. For some reason, you think otherwise, and I don't care enough to try to fix that. I don't care enough to try to show you who I am. If this is who you perceive me as, if this is what you have me, if this is the person that you think I am, it is what it is. I don't care enough to try to fix it. I've been there when it's one individual who, whatever reason, just paints you as something that you're not, or has some weird inclination of who you are or what your character is when it's not true, and you don't care enough to alter that, right? You don't care enough to show them that image of you is false. You don't care enough. And I get that. But when it's an entire fan base, when it's fighters, your peers across the board, your bosses, you don't know how they feel about you, the fans, people who used to root for you, the media, everything around you, and you don't care at all, you got some issues. You got some things you got to work on. You have to, just as a human being, who cares about who you are as a fighter? Because the truth of the matter is, same thing as I mentioned with Colby Covington, right? You can hate Colby all you want. You can hate him as much as you want, but when he shows up on fight day, he shows up on weight, and guess what? He's better than damn near everybody else in that weight class. Anybody not named Kamaru Usman, he's probably going to be a favorite against. So you can say all you want, but the truth is that inside of that octagon don't care. That octagon does not care about your moral compass. That octagon does not care. Octagon, ring, whatever it is in combat sports, in sports in general, does not care about who you are as a person, your beliefs, how you treat people, doesn't care. The only thing that octagon, that ring, that court, that field, the only thing it cares about is who's better. And unfortunately for Tony Kelley, with all the negativity surrounding him and the shots that he's taken in his image, also a no contest. Adrian Yanez is just better. Adrian Yanez beats him 10 out of 10 times. So that's a tough pill to swallow. And I understand that it's a tough pill to swallow. But when you truly don't care about how the rest of the world is viewing you, trust me, I know Andrea Lee still loves him. She probably doesn't think of him a certain way. His parents, his family, we understand that. They might not feel certain ways about him that the rest of the people do. But you don't care about this entire thing surrounding you, the place that you work, the peers, the fans, the media, everything around you. You truly do not care. That's wild to me. Especially when it's something that you could easily clear up. He could have easily cleared this up. Would there have been people that still call him a bigot, that still have these negative, thoughts about him as a person? Sure, absolutely. And you can't do anything for those people. You can't do anything for people that you say, hey, I apologize sincerely. I don't know how many more times I can apologize. I've admitted my wrongs. I've said I fucked up. It is what it is. You still don't believe me. There's nothing I can do. Those people, hey, they're going to feel that way about you. Truth is, they probably wanted to feel that way about you. But when you're so unapologetic about it, and instead of apologizing, you start giving the middle finger, figuratively and literally, what do you think's going to happen, Tony Kelley? What do you think's going to happen?